"You spend your last dollar for me, I have to bear you a child," said the slave Apache woman. Dust Moon was a lonely planet at the edge of the Orion frontier. Its ground was covered in red dust that shone softly under two suns. Jagged rocks rose like teeth from the planet's surface, and the wind carried strange whispering echoes that made the canyon seem alive. No one lived here, at least not anyone who stayed for long. Rhea Jansen struggled to keep her eyes open. Her body ached in ways she didn't know were possible. The last thing she remembered was the blinding meteor storm. Rocks and fire streaking across her ship's windshield, alarms screaming, metal bending, and a terrible crash that had thrown her across the cabin. Now she was on the ground, far from her ship, dust covering her clothes and hair. She tried to stand, but her legs shook, refusing to support her weight. The canyon walls towered above her, casting long, dark shadows. The sun's twin rays bounced off the jagged stones, making the red dust look like a river of light. Somewhere in the distance, a strange humming sound floated in the air, low and vibrating. It was almost musical, but unnerving. Rhea's breath came in short, sharp gasps. "Okay," she whispered to herself. "Okay, I just need to move." She tried again to stand, her hands pressed into the soft dust, feeling it shift beneath her palms. Her fingers traced small ridges in the sand. The wind caught her hair, whipping it across her face. And then she saw it. A shadow moving across the rocks, fast and steady like it knew exactly where it was going. At first she thought it was another dust storm, or a trick of the sun. But then the figure came closer, and she could see it was a person. A tall man, wrapped in a long coat that fluttered with the wind. A wide-brimmed hat shaded his face, but the glint of metal at his side caught her eye. It was a strange device, glowing faintly, coiled like a rope. A lasso, but not ordinary. Its glow hinted at technology beyond anything she had seen before. "Hey," he called softly, his voice calm and steady. "You're safe now. Come with me." Rhea blinked. She wanted to ask who he was, how he knew she needed help, but her mouth was dry and her voice barely worked. The man knelt beside her and extended a hand. Something about him was quiet and strong at the same time. Despite the dust covering his coat, his movements were careful and precise. I don't know if I can," Rhea said, her voice trembling. "You can," he said. "I'll help you." She hesitated, then took his hand. The moment she stood, she realized he was supporting more than her weight. He carried a calm energy that made her fear and pain feel smaller. Together, they moved toward a strange shape hovering above the ground, a horse-like drone with long, thin legs and glowing eyes. It looked alive, even though it was made of metal and wires. "This is Sable," the man said, patting the drone's neck. "She doesn't bite." Rhea smiled weakly. "Sable, huh? Cute name for a scary machine." The man chuckled softly, the sound carrying across the canyon. "I'm Jax Callahan. Some folks call me Neon Spur, but you can just call me Jax." Rhea nodded. Her mind felt foggy, but she knew she needed to get moving. She looked back toward where her ship had crashed. The wreckage smoldered faintly, black smoke rising into the red sky. I lost my ship," she said quietly. "You'll get it back," Jax said. "But first you need to get to safety. Come on." They climbed into a narrow canyon path. The wind whistled through the rocks, carrying the sound of distant humming. Rhea noticed strange patterns in the cliffs, lines and curves that seemed almost deliberate. "What is this place?" she asked. "Dust Moon," Jax said simply. "Nothing much. Just rocks, dust, and secrets." Rhea frowned. "Secrets?" "Yeah," he said, glancing at the canyon walls. "Ancient tech, old machines buried under the rocks. People say the planet can move things if it wants to. I don't know if that's true, but strange things happen here." Rhea's curiosity pushed her pain aside. She had spent her life exploring abandoned colonies and crashed ships, but Dust Moon felt different. Alive, in a quiet way. The hum in the air grew louder as they walked, and she realized it wasn't wind. It was the planet, or something under it. Something waiting. They came to a small ridge where the ground dropped sharply. From here, Rhea could see the canyon stretched for miles, glowing veins of mineral lighting the paths like a map. Dust Moon wasn't just a dead planet. It had stories. It had history. And now somehow she was part of it. Jack stopped and looked at her. "We'll rest here for a while. You need water, and I want to make sure you're steady on your feet." He reached into a pouch and pulled out a small, clear cylinder filled with bright blue liquid. "Drink this," he said. It'll help with pain and exhaustion. Nothing too strong, just enough to get you back on your feet. Rhea took it and drank slowly. The cool liquid slid down her throat, soothing her burning muscles. She felt a little stronger, though her body still ached from the crash. She looked at Jax. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. He shrugged, though the movement was careful, measured. "Some people need help. Some people deserve it. I'm not asking for thanks." His eyes scanned the horizon. And Dust Moon, well, it's easy to get lost here. You need someone to guide you, at least at first. They sat in silence for a few moments. The canyon was quiet now, except for the hum and the occasional whisper of wind through the rocks. Rhea watched the sun dip lower, painting the dust in shades of orange and violet. It was beautiful, even with the pain of the crash lingering. After a while, she asked, "Where are we going?" Jax looked at her, his face partially hidden under the brim of his hat. "To safety," he said. "And then, maybe to the truth about this place. You're lucky I found you." "Not everyone survives Dust Moon." Rhea swallowed, a shiver running down her spine. "Why me?" "Luck," Jack said with a half-smile. "And maybe a little fate." As the twin suns set, the canyon shadows grew longer, twisting into shapes that looked alive. Rhea felt a strange mixture of fear and wonder. She had survived a crash on a barren planet, met a mysterious cowboy, and discovered hints of something far bigger than herself. Dust Moon was no longer empty. It was alive, and it had plans she couldn't yet understand. Jax stood and helped her to her feet again. "Come on," he said. "We'll find a place to rest. You need sleep, and I need to check Sable before night fully falls." Rhea followed him step by careful step. She noticed the way he moved, smooth, steady, as if every rock and dip in the canyon was already in his memory. The glowing lasso at his side seemed to hum in tune with the planet, and the drone walked like it knew him as well as he knew the path. For the first time since the crash, Rhea felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. She was beaten down, alone, and lost, but now she wasn't alone. And somehow, with this strange cowboy guiding her, she might just survive Dust Moon after all. As the stars began to appear over the twin suns' fading light, Rhea realized something important. This was only the beginning. Dust Moon had secrets, and she had just met the only person who could help her uncover them. And for the first time in days, she allowed herself to believe she was truly safe. The night on Dust Moon was quiet, almost too quiet. The twin suns had dipped below the jagged horizon, leaving a purple-orange glow that slowly faded into darkness. The canyon walls, which had seemed welcoming in daylight, now looked taller and sharper, their edges sharp against the starlit sky. Rhea followed Jax carefully. Sable, the hovering horse drone, moved silently beside them, her glowing eyes scanning the ground. Every now and then, the drone emitted a soft hum, as if whispering reassurance to its riders. Rhea felt comfort in that hum, even though her body still ached from the crash. "Where are we going?" she asked again. Her voice was low, almost lost in the whisper of wind through the rocks. "To a small outpost," Jax said. "Not far from here. A place to rest, get some food, and repair your gear. You'll need strength for what comes next." Rhea frowned. "What comes next?" Jax's eyes glimmered under the shadow of his hat. "Dust Moon isn't just rocks and dust. There's old tech here, things people have tried to take. Some still do. If you want to survive here, you need to know what's really under the ground." Rhea felt a shiver, but not of fear, excitement, curiosity. She had always chased mysteries, whether in abandoned starports or lost mining colonies. Dust Moon felt like a puzzle waiting for her to solve. The outpost appeared as a cluster of small domes, glowing faintly against the night sky. A few energy lights floated around, powered by small solar panels and wind turbines. Rhea noticed tiny robots moving along the edges, maintaining the buildings, cleaning dust, or monitoring sensors. They didn't look threatening. They moved like careful gardeners. As they entered the main dome, Rhea was surprised to find warmth. Soft light filled the room, and a small heater hummed gently. A few other travelers moved about, quiet and polite. Some were miners, others explorers, but all carried the same tired look of those who had faced Dust Moon's harsh terrain. Jax led Rhea to a small cot in the corner. "Rest here for a while. Drink some water, eat something. You'll feel better in the morning." He handed her a small package of dried food. Rhea stared at it. "Not fancy," she said, smiling weakly. "Dust Moon doesn't do fancy," Jax said with a half grin. "But it works." She ate slowly, savoring the simple taste. while her mind raced. She had questions about the planet, about the strange glowing patterns, about Jax himself, but for now, she let herself relax. The next morning, the canyon was bathed in soft light. The twin suns rose again, their rays glinting off the dust and rock. Rhea stretched, feeling stronger than she had the day before. Her muscles still protested, but the rest had done its work. Jax was already waiting outside, Sable hovering beside him. "Ready?" he asked. Rhea nodded. "I think so." They began walking deeper into the canyon. The red dust shifted under their feet, glowing faintly where it caught the light. Strange patterns marked the walls, lines and curves that seemed almost like writing, or perhaps a map. Rhea couldn't tell. "Those markings," she said, pointing. "What are they?" "Old tech," Jack said simply. "Left by people long gone. Some call it alien, some call it lost knowledge. Dustmoon remembers everything. The walls, the ground, the rocks, they all hold a memory." Rhea shivered. "A memory?" "Yes," Jack said. "If you listen, you can hear it. But you can see it in the patterns. It's subtle, but it's there." As they walked, the humming in the air grew louder. It wasn't the wind. It was a vibration under their feet, coming from deep within the planet. Rhea felt it in her chest, like a soft heartbeat. "They're awake," she whispered. Jax glanced at her, then nodded. "Something's stirring. Not dangerous. Yet. But careful. We don't want to anger it." The canyon opened into a wide chamber, its walls glowing with veins of bright crystal. The light reflected in the dust, creating a river of neon color across the ground. In the center of the chamber, several small machines moved in patterns. They looked like mining bots, but their shapes were sleek, almost artistic, and they moved with intelligence. "These are the scavengers," Jack said. "They protect the relics. Not with violence, but with careful observation. They notice everything." Rhea knelt, studying the machines. "Relics? What relics?" Jax crouched beside her. "Old technology buried under Dustmoon. Something powerful. Something people have tried to steal. Some say it can move the ground, lift mountains, or change the gravity of the canyon." Rhea's eyes widened. "Lift mountains? Maybe," Jack said. "Maybe not. But the machines protect it. And they're smart. Not dangerous if you respect them. Dangerous if you make mistakes." Rhea took a deep breath. She had always liked puzzles, challenges, things that tested her mind and patience. And this was the biggest puzzle she had ever faced. "Can I help?" she asked. Jack smiled. "I hoped you'd say that." For the next few hours, he taught her to watch, to notice patterns in movement, the timing of the machines, the way dust shifted when they passed. Rhea felt her excitement grow with each observation. The canyon wasn't just a place to survive. It was a place to understand, to learn, and maybe to uncover something incredible. They worked together, quietly, without disturbing the machines. Rhea discovered she had a natural ability to read patterns, to anticipate movements. Jax watched her, impressed. "You've got a good eye," he said. "Most people rush, try to grab, and fail. You see first." As the sun reached its peak, the light in the canyon shimmered, and one of the machines paused. It turned slowly, scanning the area with glowing sensors. Rhea froze. The hum in the air grew louder, almost musical. She realized the machine wasn't aggressive. It was curious, watching, learning. Jax whispered, "Good. You've earned its respect. Don't move too fast." Rhea nodded. Slowly, she reached out toward the glowing crystal. It pulsed softly under her hand. The energy was alive, but gentle. Her fingers tingled as if the planet itself was touching her. "You feel that?" Jax asked. "Yes," Rhea breathed. "It's beautiful." Jax nodded. "And dangerous if misused. That's why the scavengers guard it. That's why people come here and fail." Rhea looked around the glowing chamber, realizing how small she felt, and yet how connected. Dustmoon wasn't just a dead planet. It was alive, and it was teaching her something. Something important. The hours passed quickly. Rhea learned the ways of the canyon, how to move without startling the machines, how to notice subtle shifts in light and dust, how to predict the hum of the planet beneath her feet. Jax guided her, teaching without forcing, watching without judging. As the suns began to set, Rhea felt a sense of accomplishment. She had survived the crash, learned to navigate Dustmoon, and even touched the glowing crystal without angering the Guardians. Jax nodded at her. "You're ready for more tomorrow. But for now, let's head back." The canyon can be tricky at night, and you need rest. Rhea smiled, exhausted but happy. She realized she hadn't felt fear like that in a long time. Not fear of danger, but fear of the unknown. And now, instead of being alone, she had someone guiding her, someone she could trust. As they returned to the outpost, the twin suns dipped below the horizon again, painting the dust in colors of gold and violet. Rhea looked at the canyon walls, glowing faintly in the evening light, and felt a sense of wonder she hadn't felt since she was a child exploring her first abandoned starship. "Tomorrow," Jack said, "we see what the relic really does, and maybe uncover a little more of Dust Moon's secrets." Rhea nodded, feeling both nervous and excited. She knew the planet held challenges ahead, but with Jax and Sable by her side, she felt ready. For the first time in days, she allowed herself to dream, not just of survival, but of discovery, of adventure, of uncovering the mysteries of a world that was alive in ways no one else could understand. And as the outpost lights twinkled in the distance, she realized Dust Moon had changed her. She was no longer just a survivor. She was a traveler, an explorer, and perhaps even a friend of this strange glowing planet. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, she was safe, she was alive, and she was ready to see the truth of Dust Moon. Word count, approximately 1. 250 the next morning. Dust Moon greeted Rhea with a soft, glowing light that filtered through the canyon walls. The twin suns were just rising, painting the red dust in shades of gold and pink. Rhea stretched and took a deep breath, feeling the clean, sharp air fill her lungs. Her muscles still protested, but after yesterday's exploration, she felt stronger, more alert, more alive. Jax was already waiting outside the outpost, Sable hovering beside him. The drone's eyes glimmered softly, scanning the surroundings. "Ready for today?" he asked. Rhea nodded. "I think so." "What exactly are we doing?" Jax's lips curved in a small smile. "We're going to see what the relic can really do. Yesterday you felt its energy, today we test it safely. You'll see why the machines guard it so carefully." Rhea felt a mix of excitement and nerves. She had already learned to respect Dust Moon's guardians, the sleek, intelligent machines that moved like dancers through the crystal-lit canyons, but testing the relic itself, that was another level of discovery. They walked through the canyon, Sable gliding silently beside them. The air hummed faintly, a vibration that seemed to pulse from the ground up into their feet. The canyon walls were alive with light, reflecting off veins of crystal, making every step feel magical. Rhea marveled at the colors and patterns, noticing how the dust shifted under their movement, almost as if the planet itself was breathing around them. Finally, they reached the glowing chamber where the relic lay. It was a crystalline structure, taller than a human, with lines of energy pulsing along its surface like flowing water. The scavenger machines were nearby, watching them with glowing sensors, but they did not move aggressively. Instead, they seemed to wait, studying Rhea and Jax carefully. "Remember what I taught you," Jax said softly. "Observe first. Don't rush. The relic responds to thought and movement. Treat it with care, and it will respond. Treat it with fear or recklessness, and, well, it doesn't like that." Rhea nodded, swallowing hard. She felt a tingling in her fingers as she stepped closer to the relic. The hum in the air grew louder, vibrating in harmony with her heartbeat. She reached out slowly, her palm hovering above the crystal surface. The energy pulsed beneath her hand, warm and gentle, but alive, like the planet itself was breathing through it. "It's amazing," she whispered. "It's more than amazing," Jax said. "It's powerful. It can shift the canyon, lift rock formations, even move gravity slightly. But it's not a toy. It responds to intent. Pure intent, calm mind." Rhea focused, remembering Jax's instructions. She didn't move too fast, didn't think about using it for herself. Instead, she imagined a small rock nearby, floating gently. She concentrated, feeling the pulse under her hand synchronize with her own heartbeat. Slowly, the rock lifted from the ground, hovering a few inches above the dust. Jax's eyes lit up. "Excellent! That's perfect!" "You felt it. You connected." Rhea grinned, the excitement coursing through her. I can really control it?" "To some extent," Jax said. "It's subtle. Small movements, small shifts. The planet decides how much it allows." "It's alive, Rhea, and it trusts you a little." For hours they practiced. Rhea learned to lift small stones, create gentle currents of floating dust, and even move herself slightly by leaning against the relic's energy. The scavenger machines moved around them. observing but not interfering. Their presence felt protective rather than threatening, like guardians watching over a sacred place. As the suns climbed higher, the canyon vibrated softly, and the patterns in the walls seemed to shimmer more brightly. Rhea realized that Dust Moon itself was alive in ways she had never imagined. The relic wasn't just a tool. It was a bridge, a connection between the planet and anyone who treated it with respect. After a long session, Jax led Rhea to the edge of the canyon for a break. They sat on a large flat rock, looking down at the glowing river of dust below. Rhea sipped water from her bottle, feeling the sun warm her skin. "You're learning fast," Jax said, watching her. "Most people fail after a few minutes. The planet tests them, and they give up. You listen, you watch, you feel. That's why you're still here." Rhea smiled, a little shyly. "I guess I just didn't want to fail."
"You won't," Jax said.
"Not if you keep that focus. But there's more to this than just lifting rocks. The relic is only part of Dust Moon's secret. If we understand it fully, we might discover things no one else ever has." Rhea's heart raced at the thought. She had always sought adventure, but this felt different. Dust Moon wasn't just a planet to explore. It was a puzzle, a teacher, and maybe even a friend. Suddenly, a soft hum came from the distance. The scavenger machine shifted, moving toward a section of the canyon that glowed brighter than the rest. Jax stood, alert. "Something's happening," he said. "The planet is trying to show us something. Follow me, carefully." Rhea nodded, following him down the canyon. The dust glowed under their feet, and the air pulsed gently with energy. As they approached, she saw a new formation, a cluster of crystals rising like towers from the ground. The hum was louder here, almost musical, vibrating in harmony with her heartbeat. This wasn't here yesterday," Rhea said, awe in her voice. Jack shook his head slightly. "It was, in a sense, Dust Moon moves. It shifts things when no one is watching. It's alive, Rhea. It decides when to show its secrets." Rhea stepped closer, feeling the energy under her feet grow stronger. "It's like it's calling to us." "Exactly," Jack said. "And if we listen, we learn, but we must be patient. Dust Moon doesn't rush. We can't either." They spent the rest of the day exploring the glowing crystal towers. Rhea learned to lift small pieces of crystal, creating floating paths to cross gaps in the canyon. She discovered patterns in the humming, learning to anticipate shifts in the ground. Jax guided her gently, always encouraging observation and patience rather than force. As evening approached, Rhea realized she had grown tired in a way that wasn't just physical. It was mental, emotional. Dust Moon demanded focus, presence, and care, but in return it gave her wonder, discovery, and a connection she had never felt before. Jax led her back to the outpost as the suns began to set. The sky glowed in brilliant colors reflecting off the canyon walls. Sable hovered beside them, moving with ease and grace, almost like a guardian spirit. "You did well today," Jax said softly. "More than well. You listened, you observed, and you connected. Most people don't make it this far." Rhea smiled, tired but proud. "I couldn't have done it without you." He shrugged. But there was a small warmth in his eyes. "We make a good team. Dust Moon brought us together for a reason. Maybe it knew we needed each other." Rhea thought about that as they entered the outpost. Dust Moon was strange and mysterious, but it had already changed her. She had faced the unknown, touched its power, and survived. More importantly, she had someone by her side, someone who understood the planet and its secrets. That night, as she lay on her cot, Rhea thought about the day's discoveries. The relic, the glowing crystals, the shifting canyon. Everything seemed connected. Dust Moon was alive, and it had chosen to reveal its wonders to her. She closed her eyes, feeling the gentle hum of the planet through the walls of the outpost. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and mysteries, but she felt ready. Dust Moon had shown her a glimpse of its power and beauty, and she was determined to see more. And as sleep claimed her, she dreamed of glowing towers, floating crystals, and a cowboy with glowing eyes and a quiet smile, guiding her safely through the mysteries of Dust Moon step by step toward horizons she had never imagined. The next morning, Dust Moon welcomed Rhea with a soft glow, the twin suns rising gently over the jagged canyon walls. The red dust sparkled like tiny jewels, and the hum of the planet filled the air, vibrating beneath her feet. Today felt different. The energy of the canyon was stronger, more alive, almost like it was eager to show her something. Rhea rose from her cot, stretching her tired muscles. She felt a deep sense of anticipation. Yesterday she had touched the relic, learned its gentle power, and connected with the planet in ways she hadn't thought possible. Today, she felt ready to discover more, to understand what Dustmoon had been hiding. Jax was already waiting outside, leaning casually against Sable. The drone's eyes glowed softly, scanning the surroundings like a watchful guardian. "Ready?" he asked. "I think so. What's next?" "We go to the heart," Jax said, the center of Dustmoon's power. The relic is only part of it. There's more, and it's time you see it. Rhea felt a thrill. The heart. The word alone made her pulse quicken. She had faced the crash, explored the glowing canyon, and connected with the relic. But this felt like stepping into the planet's soul. They followed the canyon paths, which twisted and turned like ribbons of red and gold. The hum in the air grew louder with every step, resonating with their footsteps. Rhea felt it in her chest, a gentle vibration that made her pulse feel connected to the planet itself. Finally, they reached a hidden archway, its entrance marked by glowing lines of crystal forming symbols she didn't recognize. The air shimmered faintly, bending the light around them. Jax stopped and looked at her. "This is it," he said. "The heart. No one outside Dustmoon's guardians has ever reached it without permission. If it lets us in, we learn the truth. If it doesn't, well, it shows its own way." Rhea swallowed hard, excitement mixing with nervousness. She stepped forward cautiously, her fingers brushing the glowing lines. The crystals pulsed softly under her touch, responding to her presence. The hum grew louder, enveloping them like a gentle melody. Sable floated beside them, hovering in perfect stillness. Its glowing eyes flickered, scanning the archway. Jax reached out, placing a hand beside hers. "Together?" he asked. Rhea nodded. "Together." They stepped through the archway. The world inside was breathtaking. A massive chamber opened before them, filled with glowing crystals, floating dust, and streams of light that twisted in impossible patterns. The relic was here too, larger than before, pulsing with energy that seemed to breathe. It was as if the planet itself was alive in this space. Rhea felt a surge of awe. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Jax nodded.
"It is, and it's powerful."
Dustmoon doesn't need people to protect it, but it allows those who respect it to learn, to understand. That's why it let you touch the relic. They approached the center where the energy pulsed strongest. Rhea lifted her hand again, and the small crystals nearby floated gently, guided by her thought and focus. The planet responded to her intent, the air shimmering with the same warmth and life she had felt before. Suddenly, a wave of energy spread through the chamber. The floating crystals rotated, forming a pattern that resembled a map. Rhea realized it was showing paths, hidden places, and secrets of Dustmoon she had never seen. The planet was teaching her, revealing its knowledge in ways that words never could. This is amazing," Rhea breathed. "It's like the planet is alive and wants me to see everything." "It is," Jax said softly, "and it trusts you. That's rare. Dustmoon doesn't give itself away easily. You've earned this." Rhea smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection. She had started as a survivor, beaten by a crash and lost on a strange planet. Now she was part of something bigger, a partnership with Dustmoon itself, guided by Jax and protected by Sable. They spent hours exploring the heart. Rhea learned to lift and move larger crystals, to follow the patterns the planet created, and to anticipate its gentle shifts. She discovered hidden channels where floating dust formed bridges, and secret alcoves where the glow of energy pulsed like soft lanterns. At one point she paused, looking at Jax. "Why are you here?" "Why help me?" Jax looked at her, his eyes soft beneath his hat. "I've been wandering Dustmoon for years. I don't destroy. I guide. The planet showed me a way to help others, and I've seen too many people get lost, too many fall without anyone to catch them. When I found you, well, I knew I could help." "That's enough reason." Rhea nodded, feeling gratitude and respect swell inside her. She realized something important. Dustmoon had brought them together, but Jax had chosen to stay, to guide her because he cared about more than just survival. As the suns began to set again, the chamber glowed brighter, the crystals reflecting golden and violet light across their faces. Rhea felt a strange calm wash over her. She understood now that Dustmoon's secrets weren't meant to be taken. They were meant to be learned, observed, and respected. Jax turned to her. "Ready to leave the heart?" Rhea hesitated. "Do we have to?" Jax chuckled softly. "We'll be back, but for now, the planet will guide us safely out. Trust it." They walked back through the glowing archway, the hum fading slightly but still present, like a heartbeat echoing behind them. The canyon stretched before them, peaceful and glowing softly in the evening light. Rhea felt a deep sense of accomplishment. She had faced the crash, survived Dust Moon's canyons, learned to work with the relic, and even connected with the planet itself. She was no longer just a traveler or a survivor. She was part of the story, part of the living, breathing world of Dust Moon. As they returned to the outpost, the other travelers looked at them with curiosity and awe. Rhea felt proud, not just of what she had accomplished, but of the journey she had shared with Jax. Together they had respected the planet, learned its secrets, and discovered wonders few others would ever see. That night, as she lay on her cot, Rhea reflected on her journey. Dust Moon had tested her, guided her, and shown her its heart. Jax had helped her, not with force or orders, but with patience, wisdom, and quiet trust. And she had learned that sometimes survival wasn't just about avoiding danger. It was about understanding, connecting, and growing. Sable hovered outside her window, its soft hum like a lullaby. Rhea smiled, closing her eyes. She felt safe, not just because Jax had promised it, but because she had earned her place here, on Dust Moon, as a friend, an explorer, and a witness to its wonders. When she drifted into sleep, her dreams were filled with glowing towers, floating crystals, and the hum of a planet that had become alive to her. She dreamed of Jax, standing silently beside her, his hand extended, ready to guide her safely through whatever mysteries lay ahead. And for the first time in her life, Rhea felt a deep certainty. She was no longer just surviving. She was part of something extraordinary. Dust Moon had lifted her, guided her, and shown her that even when life seemed broken and uncertain, there was always a way to rise, to learn, and to discover a new horizon. The twin suns rose again the next morning, painting the canyon in light. Rhea stood beside Jax and Sable, ready for whatever adventure Dust Moon would offer next. The planet hummed around them, alive and watchful, and she knew that as long as she respected it, it would continue to teach her, guide her, and protect her. And Jax whispered softly, as he always did, "You're safe with me now." This time, Rhea understood fully. Not just a promise, not just comfort, but a truth she carried in her heart. Dust Moon had lifted her, and so had the cowboy who had appeared when she needed him most. Together they looked toward the horizon, ready for the next adventure, the next mystery, and the endless possibilities of a planet alive with wonder.